and the HipHopHeads Podcast. We're coming at you with another listening sesh. Almost missed it. Love it. Anyways, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're tuning in. We're glad you're listening. Tell your homies, tell your friends, all that good stuff. Today's album that I will be reviewing is one I've been listening to for a little over a month. Trying to soak it in before I review it. And that's what I've done, right? I mean, that's why we're here. The album in question is Raekwon, The Emperor's New Clothes. Yes. Released on July 18th, 2025 via Mass Appeal Records. That's the thing with Nas's label. And they're doing a whole thing, the Legend Has It series, which they're releasing 7 albums in 2025, hopefully. Which you have Ghostface, which came out today. Today's August 22nd. You got the Raekwon album. I haven't listened to the Ghostface yet. I'm gonna tune into that shortly, and then I'll get back to you with another episode following this. So yeah, Raekwon, Slick Rick, which was released earlier this summer. I think it was called Victory. We're supposed to have a Big L album coming, a De La Soul album, a new Mobb Deep album, and then it's going to all come to a head, I believe, with the Nas and DJ Premier album that they're working on now. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like this series, just what they're doing. I won't speak on the Slick Rick album. Maybe I'll do an episode on that. So yeah, stay tuned for that as well. Anyways, so Legend Has It. This is the first album I'm reviewing for this series. And it's Raekwon's The Emperor's New Clothes. Which is an interesting album title, That's a old like fable story, about a emperor who is naked and needs clothes. Basically, the fable of the story is, we must not let pride or fear keep us from speaking up. Yeah. And I don't know how that pertains to this album. I guess, Raekwon being, in the later years of his artistry, is putting this out. And, maybe that, comes with it some, you must not let, pride, maybe stop you from making your new music and, speaking up and doing all that kind of stuff. So, maybe with that, it makes a lot of sense. The album has got 17 tracks. It's 40 minutes long. It's got a boatload of features with Spectre Deck, Carlton Fisk. You got Griselda on here, Conway, Westside, and Benny come to assist for a track. Ghostface is all over the place on here. You got Method Man, Nas, Tommy Nova. Quite a few features. Most of the tracks have features, to be honest with you. I'd say it's about half and half, which, it's pretty good. So you get some good ones with, Raekwon and stuff, which I like. I'm fine with hearing a couple Woo heads, and, it was cool to see hear the Griselda on here. So both of those, obviously, I welcome with open arms. This is Raekwon's first album in 8 years. His last one was The Wild. He's written a book in between that, the From Staircase to Stage, which I read. I thought it was fantastic. Raekwon has got multiple classic albums under his belt, with only built for Cuban links, Iron Man, only built for Cuban links too. His discography is interesting to say the least. He, as a rapper, Raekwon's one of the greats, right? He always delivers. His albums can just fall short, sometimes. For me, at least. I'd say his he's fairly consistent in that sense. He's got the classics, Only Built for Cuban Links and Only Built for Cuban Links 2, one of the rare sequels that, um, you know, this was a great follow up. An incredible follow up, as a matter of fact. He was supposed to be having a Only Built for Cuban Links 3 as well that he was working on, but I'm not quite sure what happened with that. I think I think him and Rap Radar talked about that like many years ago, maybe around the pandemic time. But who knows? So, like I said, this album's got 17 tracks. You got a bunch of features on it, like I said, a bunch of interesting producers. You got Frank G, I think, who takes most of the beats on here. Not most of them. He's got like three or four beats, so he's got the most, in my opinion, or not in my opinion, but according to the track list here. Raekwon produces the skits here and a couple of them. The intro, kind of cool. You got Swiss Beats on here. He produces the Ghostface and Method Man track. Knots is on here. He produces the Nas joint, which is pretty cool. So there's some the production's all over the place on this. Let's just put it that way. Um, all over the place. And that kind of brings me to, you know, getting into the album. I thought there was a lot of good tracks. The album's opens up with Ray just crushing it on Bear Hill. You know what I mean? That's a great opener. Fantastic track there. And then it kind of goes into the Inspector Deck and Carlton Fisk track, which I thought was a great track. Carlton Fisk really delivers. Nice to hear him again. Been a while. That was good. Then we got into the Wild Corsicans, which was done by Snipe Beats. Not familiar with him, but that was the joint with Griselda, West Side Gun, Conway, and Benny the Butcher, which I thought was a great track. Conway specifically really mixes well with the woo. I love to hear him on there. They all do, as a matter of fact, but just Conway just gives that extra, I don't know, that special sound to it. I really enjoyed this track, one of my favorites on the album, in my opinion. Keep going down, One Life is pretty dope. Raekwon, gets a little heavy on there. Not to be confused with the track to heavies, which will be coming up later. Then it just kind of keeps it going here. You get the 600 School, which features Ghostface Killer and Method Man. That's the joint with Swiss Beats as well, which is a good track. Method Man really crushes it. So does Ghostface, but Meth just shines. I thought the beat was a bit weak for Swizz. I mean, it was fine, especially when you have these three great rappers on the track, but it didn't really. I mean, it could have been any beat, and it wouldn't have mattered. They would have crushed it. This didn't really uplift anybody or anything, in my opinion. But the three MCs, Ghost, Ray, and Meth, all crush it. Really, really good. Then you got the guy plans it, the heavies. Um, I like the heavies. Um, it has like a kind of like a interesting jazz, like kind of like piano in the background. Like I feel like I've heard it before. I'm not gonna give anything away, but yeah. Pav Bundy was on that beat. Um, and they have a cool like Lex. They sprinkle in they pepper in like a little Lex Diamond cut in there, which is pretty cool. Knots came with it on the Nas track, the Omerta, which is track 13 on the album, and I thought he did really good job on there. Got funky with it. Love the bass line on there. Knots did a great job. And then, moving right along, Get Out of Here with Ghostface, produced by Frank G. This might have been my favorite beat on the album. Props to Frank G. Props to the homie Frank G. Peace. I mean, I see what you're doing. We homies. Yeah, thought they did a good job on this one. One of the best tracks on the album, in my opinion. Very good. Very, very good job by them. Um, Moving right along. I mean, at 40 minutes, the album is short, pretty sweet. But I think the production is kind of all over the place, like I was saying earlier, and that kind of brings down the vibe a bit. And it's just inconsistent. While the MCs and all that, Raekwon is specifically, does his thing on here. Um, he's got a good story track with the guy plans it. That's track 10. That was pretty cool. You get to see him float on there and do that Raekwon thing, but it's pretty short. It's only a minute and 30 seconds, and like you want to hear Ray go more into the stories and stuff like that, but he peppers it in, but it doesn't really, doesn't it's not like a cohesive uh, idea, in my opinion. While the album is good, the production is lacking, and that kind of hurts the album, in my opinion. It makes it very, it doesn't make it a bad listen, but it makes it fairly forgettable, in my opinion. And for that, I got to knock it a couple notches. Um, the album right now, after being a month out, is probably averaging around 300,000 listens on Spotify, which, in my opinion, isn't the best. You have not the Nas track has got the most hits with just under 800,000, and that's surprising to me. I would have thought that track specifically would have a few million at this point, but maybe it's going under the radar. I don't think they really they're not promoting these albums like super crazy, like just here and there. Like if you're in the circle, I think you'll see stuff. But if you're not, the algorithms might not hit you. You know what I mean? So, in that sense, I'm surprised it's not doing better on the streamers. Hopefully, it's selling, vinyls and all that kind of good stuff. Um, Raekwon's the man. Absolute legend. Love him. And I love him on this album. Once again, the production is kind of lacking. Um, Ray still got it. You know what I mean? And the friends he brought along here, you know, they do a great job assisting him. With the kind of over everywhere production, I would give the album out of 5. I give it a 3. Little tres puntos. Um, yeah, just a 3. Um, if that production value would or that production would have been up a little bit more, I think it would have been really crazy. I think you could have kept, a couple of the Frank G joints, the Knots track. You could have thrown out the Swiss um, track. The Justice League came through on this um, with the One Life, but once again, it wasn't really, wasn't crazy like that. I think it would be great to hear, you know, Raekwon with like a smaller bit. Like you get maybe 2 or 3 producers or just a single producer. You know what I mean? That way he can keep the album a bit more cohesive, future albums more cohesive. For me, if you love the album, hey, I'm not knocking you. It's a solid album. Um, but yeah, I give it a solid 3. I want you to go out and support Raekwon. If you like the album, go ahead and buy it. If you haven't heard it, listen to it, and tell us what you think. I would love to hear what y'all's opinions are on it. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you agree with my review? Tell us in the comment section. Feel free to follow us everywhere. You can do your YouTube things, all that. You can see us. The listening sesh is on there. You can find the podcast everywhere you listen to quality podcasts. And just give us a shout out. Tell your grandmother. right? Tell your other Wu-Tang fans. And that's all I got for you. This is your boy Vega from the CryptOnline.com and the HipHopHeads Podcast saying peace.